Assalamu alaikum student. I hope you all are well, safe and healthy at home. I'm here with a new topic, very interesting and very informative topic and very important for your career. So in previous lecture, you have learned how to write an effective cover letter. And by the end of today's lecture, you will be able to write an effective resume. So pay close attention to understand what are the techniques, what are the do's and don'ts of an effective of writing an effective resume. So to be an effective resume writer, it's very important to learn and to understand all the points which I'm going to elaborate one by one in today's lecture. So, a resume is a very important part of your career. Uh, a resume, basically, if we talk about the importance of resume, a resume is an important tool for your job search since it offers a page or two where you can display your top skills, your qualities, your academic background, etc. However, a resume is much more than that. Resumes help employers make hiring decisions and help you get your first interview. That's why it matters how you structure your resume and what information you decide to include in your resume. In today's lecture, you will learn why a resume is important and get actionable resume tips that may help you to achieve your next career move, to your next career step. So let's start about the resume. That first of all, the curriculum vitae. Basically, it is called. Usually, we call it the CV. So when we talk about the definition of the meaning of the CV, literally it means life story because here you present the detail about your educational and experiences and about your accomplishments in your life. That's why it is called the life story. So basically the CV includes more detailed history of research, publication, organization and community service in which you add the detail about your all publications or organizations where you have worked. And CV basically is not specific to a particular job position. It represents your life story, that which accomplishments and which are the experiences you gained in your life. So it does not tell your employer that what you are applying for or for which post you are applying. It basically tells the detail about your accomplishments, your experiences, and your academic background. Similarly, resumes are the most common document requested of applicants in job applications. And resume provides a summary of your education, of your work history, your accomplishments, your credentials, and your skills. There are also optional sections including a resume objective and career summary statement, which is added to tell the hiring manager about your future or career objectives. So basically, a resume is a document in which you present your detail about your education and about your work history. Now, first move towards the types of the resume. So basically, there are three types of the resume. First of first of all, chronological resume, which is basically the simplest resume. It is perhaps the simplest resume to write and is often the format that is most preferred by employers. It's easy to write because it is dictated by your own history. So a chronological resume lists your work history in order of date, starting with your most recent position and your working history, your work experience. And the second type of resume is a functional resume, which stresses individual areas of competence. A functional resume emphasizes a list of skills and accomplishments, identifying employers and academic experience in subordinate sections. So this pattern stresses individual area of competence. So it's useful for the people who are just entering the job market, who are fresh and who has already no experience and they want to apply for a particular job. And so it's useful for the persons, for the candidates who have little continuous career related experience. And there are also multiple advantages of functional resumes, like without having to read through job descriptions, your hiring manager, your employers can see what you can do for them through the functional resume. And through functional resume, you can emphasize earlier job experience. And through functional resume, you can de emphasize any lack of career progress or lengthy unemployment. You don't need to add the points if you spend a time of unemployment in functional resume. So the third type of resume writing is the combination resume. This is basically the combination of chronological and functional approaches. And in this type of resume, a combination is added. It basically includes the best features of both chronological and functional approaches. Nevertheless, it is commonly used. It is not commonly used, and it has two major disadvantages. It tends to be longer and it can be repetitious. If you have to list your accomplishments and skills in both the functional section and in the chronological section job descriptions, then it would be too lengthy and repetitive. That's why it is not encouraged as much while writing resume. So these are the three types of resume: chronological, functional resume, and combination resume. As you are the student and you are definitely going to apply for your job, so the functional resume would be very effective for you. Before moving towards the do's and don'ts and various section of resume, it's pertinent for you people to know the difference between resume and CV. So curriculum vitae or CV is basically descriptive, but resume as compared to CV is concise. When we talk about the length, then CV varies from 2 to 3 pages because it's descriptive, and the length of the resume is 1 page, may vary up to 2 pages only. And the CV includes the skills and achievements, but the resume includes information that is relevant for the particular job. In the resume, you will add the information which relates to the particular job for which you are applying. So length of a CV minimum 2 pages and the resume length maximum 2 pages. A CV include the information related to your educational background, your academic background, teaching research experience, if you have any, your publications, presentation, awards, honors and affiliations. But your resume includes the skills, experience and education. Uh, in CV, basically chronological order needed, but in resume it not needed. In CV, references are required, but in resume, references are not every time required. It depends on the demand of the advertisement of the organization. So CV, the preferred places for CV are UK, Europe, the Middle East, Africa, and Asia. And resume is most commonly used in US, means America, and Canada. The purpose of writing curriculum vitae or CV is employment, academic fellowships, grants for the purpose of internship and scholarships. A resume basically is written for interview and potential employment competition for the purpose of particular job. CV basically mostly academic institution, and resume mostly business industry, government and non-profit jobs. CV include the full record of employment history. A resume include the brief record of related employment history because it is concise and it relates and it add the record of employment history which relates to the particular job for which you are preparing your resume. So these are the basic and general differences between CV and resume. But don't worry about it. No matter whether you use a CV or resume, you need to thoroughly edit your document. This is very important that your resume include the details which are required for the particular job, uh, and your details should be given according to the proper style and format. So make sure that there is no spelling or grammatical mistakes in your resume. So don't worry about it whether you are going to prepare a CV or resume. It should be neat, it should be clean, it should contain all the details which a particular job basically required. So pop quiz. What is the initial amount of time an employer takes to review an applicant's resume? Basically, the answer of this question is 15 to 20 seconds minimum. Means your resume it will remain in the hands of the recruiter, in the hands of the hiring manager, minimum 15 to 20 seconds. The other person will give minimum 20 to 15 seconds or maximum 45 seconds. So it's your skill, it's your ability that how you will construct, how you are going to prepare your resume, how you are going to make your resume attention grabber, that which must has the ability to grab the attention of the hiring manager within 15 to 20 seconds. So why do you need a resume and CV? Basically, resume is a marketing tool, the first step of entering in the market, the first step of the job process. When you're going to apply for a job, definitely you need to prepare your resume. So it's a marketing tool, and the basic purpose of your resume is to obtain an interview, but not a job. You should make it clear in your mind that your resume and can obtain an interview call but not a job. It's your ability how you're going to perform in the interview and how you're going to secure your job. So this is what you will learn in the uh, coming lecture in the topic of the interview strategies. So here basically you must know that your resume obtain an interview, not a job. A resume basically is the requirement of many organizations, because when they advertise any post, they ask you to submit the resume, and then you receive the interview call if you are shortlisted. So your resume basically gives a hidden message, different hidden messages. You are already aware about the verbal and non-verbal communication, and according to the research, that the effect of non-verbal message is 60 to 90% as compared to the verbal message. So when you are going to send your resume, all the words are the giving the verbal messages, but your use of punctuation, use of bullets, spellings, correction, your grammatical accuracy, your format, your style, basically all these points provide a non-verbal message to your reader. So if your CV is neat, it means you are neat. If your resume well organized, it means you are well organized. If your CV or resume is error free, it means you have the attention to detail. If your resume has the professional appearance, it means you have you are a careful person and a competent person. So your resume basically provides and gives hidden messages to your hiring manager, a non-verbal message. So your resume should be neat, well organized, error-free, and must has professional appearance. The one and the most important point, change your resume for each job application. This is the very important point, that when you are going to apply for a particular job, it's very important to make necessary changes in your resume. Change the objective according to the requirement of the job. Change the experience, highlights the experiences which meet the requirement of your job. Similarly, add the skills which the nature of your job basically require requires. So tie every piece of information you give them to something they need, as the same strategy as you learned in cover letter, that you need to add the detail, the particular detail uh, which relate basically which relate to the requirements of the job. So here you must have to keep in your mind that what are the requirements of the job. And so looking for leadership, if the job is looking for leadership, then give them leadership experience, highlight the leadership experience, and highlight the skills, leadership skills in the section of the skills. That's why it's very important to change your resume for each job application. Usually it happens that people ask other friend, other person to give their resume, and then they add the detail, their necessary detail, education background, and then they submit the resume without changing the objectives, the skills. They think that skills which are already added in the resume of the other person can relate to you. This is not fair. So it's very important to make necessary changes in your resume for applying for every particular job. So basically, CV and resume do the following. Basically, resume saves the HR person time. It serves as a record in your file, and most specifically and most importantly, your resume gets you an interview. That is very important, and that's why it's important to learn that how to write an effective resume. Basically, these are the points, these are the details which are added in the resume. These are the sections. First of all, personal contact information, and then the objectives, your career objective, and education detail, experience, awards, activities, your skills, and your references. So writing tips, what are the writing tips? What are the do's and don'ts of writing resume? Give yourself time to write a resume, because it's the first step of writing. So according to the rule of the writing, the first step of the writing is planning. So give yourself time to plan that what to add into your resume and how to add into your resume. Think like a human resources professional. Think like the person who is going to hire you. Place yourself at the place of the person who is going to review, who is going to give time to your resume. So prepare your resume according to the perspective of the person who is going to evaluate and assess your and shortlist your resume. Make your information easy to read. This is very important. Avoid long paragraphs, as it is very clear to all of you that the person gives minimum 15 to 20 seconds to your resume and maximum 45 seconds. Then why to add the long paragraphs? It's very important to avoid long paragraphs and choose an appropriate font and size for your resume. Give your content information in the earlier. in the very start of your resume, in the opening segment, opening section of your resume, you need to give your contact information. So if the person wants to call you for the information, so it become very easy for the person to approach you rather than finding your contact information at the end of your resume. So, format and style of your resume, use short non phrases and action verbs, not whole sentences. Your resume should be concise, should be brief. It should save the time of the HR person. That's why use the non phrases and always use the action verbs. As I suggested you, and you learned in the cover letter, that always go for the action verbs rather than the passive verbs, and not need to write the whole sentences. You can write the bullets. So use facts, not opinion. Resume is concise. Here there is no need to write the opinions. You need to just you add facts in your resume, facts about your academic record, facts about your work experience. Most important point is to adopt you attitude in your resume. You need to adopt you attitude in your resume, which you learned in your 7 C's. And if you are when you are going to adopt the you attitude, then it's important to omit the personal pronoun, the I attitude and the we attitude. You need to go for the you attitude in your resume. The further points about your resume, omit the date of preparation, desired salary, and work schedule. So, no need to add that date on which date you prepared your resume. No need to add the desired salary, and no need to add the work schedule, that which time is convenient for you to give to the work. So use parallelism when listing the multiple items. It is very important when you are going to add your skills. Use parallelism, and when you are going to add other details in the form of the list, so use parallelism. Use positive language and simple words. Your resume should be clear to the other persons. Use white space, quality paper, and quality printing. It reveals your responsibility, and it basically gives a non-verbal message to other person. So the first section of your resume, the first part of your resume, which is opening. What should be included in the opening? The question arises in your mind, what should be included in the opening? I'm here to tell you that you need to add your name in the opening. You need to add your permanent and present address in the opening form, the opening section. After that, it is recommended to add email address and telephone number. So your complete address, detail of contact, and your name are very important to add in the opening segment. So the point which is very important to add is this. Here you can see in the example and that how to give the email address. The bad example of email address, usually it happens that people create their email address uh, in proper proper unprofessional way. But if you have any unprofessional email address, please don't add that email address in your resume. Go for a good example email address which shows basically your professionalism. So if you don't have any professional email address, then first create a professional email address which can contain your name, complete name. So it should be your professional email address, and avoid to give the that email address which gives basically a sign of unprofessionalism. Here you are going to enter in the market, here you are going to start your professional life, and you are going to submit your resume. So your each and every point must reveal that you are basically a professional person, and you are a mature person, and you are a person who can be hired, and who can work effectively. So here you can see the sample of the opening. There are two samples, the bad sample and the good sample. Here you can see the two email address have been given. This is unfair, too much details, which is not necessary, which is not demanded and required by the advertisement, but still you have added the unnecessary information the person has added. So the first is good as it keeps it clean and provides the permanent information about the academic about the permanent details and contact address, and it's not overwhelming or intrusive. But the second example, the second, it is not basically is not as it gives away too many emails and too much information. It basically it seems untidy. So this is the good example of giving opening, and this is the bad example of giving opening. The second section of your resume is the objectives. After the opening, there is a need to add objectives, which is the very important part of your resume writing, and you need to write your objective yourself. You can get help from other templates, resumes, and other persons, but you need to add objectives according to the requirements of the job and according to your academic background, and objectives should be changed according to the nature of the job. It indicates basically objective indicates specific position for which you are applying. It make clear to your hiring manager that for which position you have applied. So the objective should be simple, clear, and concise. And don't choose a complete sentence. Usually, a short phrase, a one line phrase is enough as an objective. It can be one, it can be two. So, take advantage of information from the job advertisement and use keywords in your objectives from the job advertisement. This is very important. Include a career objective or a skill summary if desired in your objective. And don't be wordy and don't add unnecessary information in your objectives, because objectives should be specific, clear, and to the point. Don't get too me-centered. You always need to give the you attitude. In a skill summary, present your strongest qualification first. Usually it happens that in resume people usually add the summary. Summary is basically added when you have ample experience of working, like the experience of 15 to 20 years or 30 to 35 years. But while writing functional resume, when you are going to apply at the entry level or you have a few years experience, then go for the objective rather than the career summary. So for writing objective, you should keep it in your mind that objective should be clear, concise, and complete objective according to the requirement of the job. So here you can see the sample, you can see the examples. The first example, the two wordy objectives. It is the first is basically a way too wordy and fluffy, and uh, if you see the second objective, it sounds basically it sounds too nervous, and it seems that the writer is surrounded by the insecurity because he mentioned to work in a stable company in the business area and use good administrative skills in order to be productive employee and grow within the company. So it seems nervous, and it seems insecurity of the person. The last example, this is also a bad example of the objective, in which three words just have been mentioned: executive management position. Means very brief. So too much brief is also not recommended, and too much wordy is not recommended, and the wording has been used in this objective is also not acceptable. You can see the other examples of objectives. Here again a sample of the good objective and the bad objective. Basically, if you don't have an objective as to what type of job you are applying for, employers have to think about where you fit. Mm, it is very clear when you are writing an objective, it should be specific and it should reveal a specific that you are going to apply for the specific position. For this purpose, it is pertinent that first of all you research the company and find out what positions you are hiring for. It means what positions you are going to apply for. First of all, it should be very clear in your mind that for which position you are going to apply, and you should mention in your objective that for which position you are applying, rather than creating confusion for your hiring manager that they look for the position, that for which position you can be the fit candidate. Here you can see in the good example, to obtain a position as an accountant in the automotive industry, utilizing my strong analytical and problem solving skills for the betterment of organization. Here very clearly and in a specific way, that the objective have been given, that the person is applying for the accountant position, and which industry and what are the skills. So skills have also been mentioned in the objective. In the bad example, you can see, to find a challenging position with a growing company that will provide me with relevant experience in the exciting field. In the exciting, so which relevant experience, and for which company and for which position you are going to apply. Note of the sentence structure is appropriate, but it's not the example of a good objective. Good objective is this, which is clear, and uh, uh, specific and very concise, in which it is telling that for means it is complete objective, which is telling for which position you are applying, for which company, and for which purpose you are applying. So, while writing objectives, you need to keep it in your mind that your objective, that into objective, you pursue a career in your profession. The first aspect of the right career objective is that it should be in line with the job that you have applied for. Your objective should relate to the your objective should relate to the job for which you are going to apply. For instance, if you have applied for a job in a chemical company, you should make sure that your career objectives reflect that you have taken academic degrees and have always wanted to pursue a career in this field. So your objective should tell your recruiter, you should tell your hiring manager that you have the similar experience, you have the similar degrees, and you want to pursue your career in the same field. Here you can see in the example, the good example of objective, to build a long-term career in the field of chemical engineering as a chemical engineer with opportunities for career growth. Here, this objective is clearly giving the sign that you want to pursue your profession and you have the degree of chemical engineering, and you are applying for the position of chemical engineer. This is basically your objective. Modern technologies. Career objective may speak about the technologies skills that candidate would like to have a chance to learn about. In that condition, you can mention that you want to learn these skills. You want to learn learning new technologies would be beneficial for the individuals as well as for the company. So here is an example of objective to keep up with the cutting edge of the technologies. If you know that it relates to the particular job and the organization, then you can write your objective in this way. So this is the section of writing objective. After giving proper information about you, the second segment is objectives, which is very important, and it should relate to your particular job, and it should tell your reader that for which job, for which positions you have applied. The third section of your resume is education, very important, in which you give the detail about your academic background. So the first point is that list the name and location of every post-secondary school you have attended with dates and with degrees certificates obtained. Here you will tell the name of the institution, the date, when did you get the degree, the title of the degree, and the grades. If you feel it's necessary to add it, if you feel that your grades are good. So indicates your college, minor and majors. Indicates your degree of your university. So indicate numerical in the education section, means your CGPA, your grades, your points. Here you can see how to give the how to add the education detail in the section of education. First of all, name of the institution, include city and state if not part of the title. If city and state is not part of the title of the name of the institution, then you need to state it. Otherwise, just state the name of the institution. Right after that, where I mention the name of your degree and your majors, means in which subjects you have specialization. So, Bachelor of what and in. Here you can see Bachelor of Science in Business Administrative Accounting. You have given the complete information of your degree with the major specialization. List degrees in reverse chronological order, means you will add the most first degree in the very start. Suppose you are going to write your resume, then you will add and your most recent degree, which is your degree of current degree, which you are basically right now studying and trying to complete. So you will mention your current degree. After that, you will go back for your college degree and then your matriculation. While writing or while giving the educational detail, it is also important mention the date or expected date of the graduation. So, whether it's graduation, your master's, your PhD, which degree you are going to mention, the recent degree which you are pursuing right now. So, if you have not yet completed the degree, then give the expected date of the completion of the degree. If you have completed the degree, then give the date of the completion of the degree. Here, you can see in the examples. After that, you need to add your grades. This is basically a controversial issue. Usually, people suggest to avoid to add your grades. Grades are very important to add your grades. If your CGPA is not good, and it can give leave a negative impact, then avoid to add your grades while writing your section of the education. So list degree first, graduation date over years you attended, so that your employer focus want to know when you are available and what type of degree you have completed. Some rules of education are these, that use the bullet points and start each line with an action verb. Use the present tense if currently you are pursuing. Otherwise, you need to add the past tense. So, uh, here this is the way of giving the educational detail. In the sample, here you can see the information. Personal information is given at the education stage or major of degree. After that, expected graduation date, and then CGPA is also mentioned of your other degree, and so on. After that, After the degree education detail, the next section of your resume is the section of the experience. Use the term experience. It is also called our work experience. So basically, what is considered experience? This is very important to know. Full and part-time jobs self-employment can also state you did in the section of the education list jobs with most recent first of all into your section of experience. So start each line with an action verb into your experience, then present tense if you currently employed, and past tense if no longer employed. So be concise while providing enough detail, and always avoid the I statement into your example bad experience section, in which the person has given basically the position, then the date, and after that the name of the organization, and then he just gave the detail about the you can see about the duties, about the responsibilities. This experience section or work section, basically experience, it is also called the work section. It should do more than just list the duties that were assigned to you in the past jobs. In the bad example here, you can see only the list of duties can be given, but the experience section, it should show how you achieved results in those roles, how you achieve results through those duties. So further employers want to see how your experience has prepared you to meet their needs. That's why it's important to clarify the kinds of business you have worked for and how they benefited from your skills and talents. Means when you add your duties, also add your accomplishments. So in this bad example, you can see it reads like a boring job description with duties but no accomplishments. It gives no indication of the size and scope of the business. It uses inconsistent bullet wording, and it lists an activity that has no apparent relevance to the new job. So only the duties in disorganized way has been given here. In the other sample, you can see, which is the sample of the good experience, in which in the very start you can see the designation is given, and then the name of the company where he worked, and then the date when he started and to present. After that, you can see here one by one the duties plus accomplishments and the responsibilities, and how he fulfilled those responsibilities have been given while using the action verbs. So, action words describe your accomplishments, such as spearheaded, facilitated, negotiated. These are very important to add. You can see processed $10 billion in commercial construction loan applications for the top commercial lender in Eastern Missouri. In second, you can see managed a team of 5 junior underwriters who exceeded departmental goals consistently for past 6 months. So here, not only the duties but accomplishments has been given, which is very important with the use of the action verbs: facilitated, managed, processed. So this is the example of the good experience section. Similarly, one by one, starting from the most recent, one by one, which relates to your particular job, you can mention your experience while using the bullets form and action verbs After this, you can give the other experience in which you can mention the designation, name of the organization, date when you worked, and then your accomplishments with your duties. Here you can see in the sample objectives, education detail, a relevant experience, the designation, name of the organization, date, and then accomplishments with their duties, and other experience given in this way, and then other experience given in the same way, so on. After giving the detail about your experience in your resume, the next section is about your skills, which is very important to add. Here, you need to add your hard skills. At the same time, you need to add your soft skills. Basically, your hard skills are those skills which are quantifiable and often learned from any institute, from schools. These are basically your professional skills which you learned, like languages, you learned the language, programming, machinery operating. These are your hard skills. And your soft skills, which you need to add to your resume, are your personal skills. These skills are also called the people skills, and these skills are harder to quantify. For instance, the good communication skill, your patience, your decision making skill, your conflict resolution skills, these all are your soft skills. So it is recommended that in your resume, use both types of skills on your resume, your soft skills and your hard skills. You need to add hard skills, you need to add your soft skills in a proper way while using the bullets. Here you can see I have given here basically the 6 lists of skills which you can add in your resume, which basically relate to your particular job and yourself. Here you can see general soft skills, the list of general soft skills which you can add. Similarly, another example, management soft skills, hard skills of design, I have added here. Resume technical skills of programming, and hard skills on online marketing. Professional skills are in demand hard skills. You can see hard skills which I have mentioned here. These are basically the example, the list. It doesn't mean to add the complete section into your resume. This is basically the list of the skills which you can review and you can check that what to add in your resume, because as you are learning more, as you will be able to write an effective resume, and I'll assign you the assignment of resume writing, so you can get help from these lists of skills I have added, that you can go through these skills and you can select these skills according to the requirement of your job, and according to which relates to you and your job, which you need to add into your resume. So these are basically the lists of skills which can be added in a resume uh, on the requirement and demand. The last section of your resume writing is to give the references. As you build your resume, begin creating a list of references. Keep it in your mind. Usually, in the advertisement, it is mentioned to give the references. Usually, 3 references are asked, and sometimes 4 to 5 references are asked. So, what is the requirement? According to the requirement, you will add the references. While adding references, you keep it in your mind. Avoid using the family members. Get permission from the individuals you plan to use as references, and provide complete details about the person and the reference which you are going to add. And one point which is very pertinent, I want to add here, that add the reference which relate to your post for which you are applying. For instance, if you are applying for the post of HR manager, or if you are applying for any post of administrative, then your reference should be related to that post. post. If you are applying for the purpose of teaching, then your reference should relate to the teaching profession. So it's very important to add the reference related to the particular job here. Basically, that's why it is recommended to change your resume for each particular job, because you need to add all details related to the particular job. So this is the last section of writing resume. After references, you have completed your resume, and like cover letter, you also need to revise and edit your resume. You also go for the proofreading of your resume, because it's very necessary your resume should be complete, error free from spellings and grammatical mistake. It should not over wordy. So the complaints of resume usually are no focus on tailored skills, no objectives, usually poorly written objectives, and usually the wordy and irrelevant informations are added in the resume. You should avoid all those points, and you should focus um the points which I elaborated to and which you learned uh, in this lecture. So these are the references which I have added. You can get help for further techniques of the resume and the templates of resume. So in today's lecture, basically you learned how to write an effective resume, and I'm sure you can write your effective resume now. So you have learned how to write an effective cover letter, and you have learned how to write an effective resume. Very soon I'll share an advertisement with you people, and your task will be to prepare a cover letter and a resume, keeping in mind all the rules which you learned through the lectures, and keeping in mind the requirement of the advertisement. So the topic is complete here. I hope you learned very well. Now you can write your resume yourself. So if still something is confusing, if you have any query, then you can contact me. You can post your question in the WhatsApp group. We will have online session on Friday. You can discuss with me, and after that I'll share an advertisement with all of you, and you will start work on your resume and cover letter. So take care, stay safe, stay at home, and give time to your studies and your family as well. Allah Hafiz.